Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of Explore and Engage with Anam. I'm going to be talking about the mayoral race in New York City. This is going to be one of the most watched races in the country this year. And we're not talking about a presidential race. We're not talking about a U.S. Senate race. We're not talking about a high-profile gubernatorial race. This is local government. This is a mayoral race, but this is a mayoral race in the city of New York. And so you can understand the significance of this race. It will help decide the future of New York City. So my friends, let's go into the discussion. Zohran Mamdani, the Democrat candidate for mayor, is the one who is leading in the race right now. He's the front runner quite clearly. Now, I don't know how anyone else can catch up at this point. I mean, talk about Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo has been in politics for a very, very long time. But you look at Andrew Cuomo's position in the poll for the mayoral race, he's clearly behind. And Eric Adams, the incumbent, is far behind. And Curtis Sliwa, the Republican candidate, has an uphill battle. He is also far behind. And as I mentioned, Curtis Sliwa is running as a Republican. Eric Adams is running as an independent. And the truth is, running as a Republican is likely not going to help much in the New York City mayoral race. This is a Democrat-heavy city, and that's a fact, and it is what it is. Now, let's look at the first poll. I looked at the Quinnipiac University poll, and in that poll I saw that the Democrat candidate, Zohran Mamdani, is at 45% among likely voters. 45%, according to the Quinnipiac University poll. And then Andrew Cuomo is at 23%. Now, that is a big difference between 45 and 23. And that's why I said towards the very beginning, I don't know how anyone else can catch up. So Mamdani is leading by a significant margin. Oh, and by the way, Cuomo is running as an independent also, okay? So Mamdani is the Democrat, Cuomo is an independent, Eric Adams is an independent, and then Curtis Sliwa is running as a Republican. And so in that poll, Curtis Sliwa got 15% and Eric Adams got 12%. So Eric Adams is way behind, okay? And he's an incumbent. So once again, Quinnipiac University poll, Mamdani at 45, Cuomo at 23, Sliwa at 15, Adams at 12. Okay, now let's go to the next poll, the Emerson College poll. Mamdani is at 43% and Cuomo is at 28%. So still a very big difference between the leading candidate and the candidate right after that. So Mamdani 43, Cuomo 28, Curtis Sliwa is at 10%, and Eric Adams is at 7%. And this is according to the Emerson College poll. So we can keep going, poll after poll after poll. Same result. Mamdani is leading, and he is leading by a lot. And I am really not sure what can change between now and November when the election is. Even minor movements in the polls are not going to be enough to change the likely outcome, which is Mamdani is on his way to victory. And there has to be some very significant change in the political landscape or some very significant change in the current political environment in New York City to change the likely results. So even if Cuomo, goes up several points and Mamdani stays where he is, or Mamdani Mamdani's favorability falls, still that difference is significant, and I don't see how Cuomo can catch up. And there are many ways to criticize Mamdani, many issues. We can criticize Mamdani's policy views, and if you dig deeper, you'll find that Zohran Mamdani's policies are complete nonsense. Okay, I mean, socialism doesn't work, and he's a socialist. Zohran Mamdani, the Democrat candidate, is a socialist, and we know. Anyone who has studied history, anyone who understands the history of the world and the history of different countries, anyone who has studied political theory, you know socialism doesn't work, and communism ruins a society. And there's a socialist, and some would call him a communist. There's a socialist/communist candidate who is leading in the polls in a city like New York City, a city known all over the world. And this is what is so shocking. Out of all the places in the world, it is in New York City that a socialist is leading and is likely to become the next mayor. This is a city. We're talking about New York City. This is a city that is a shining example of capitalism. New York City, known all over the world for the wealth and the success that this city has seen. The skyscrapers, the luxury, the businesses, Wall Street, the investors, the small businesses, the workers, the infrastructure, everything. Every brick, every block of concrete, every piece of machinery, every bit of luxury, everything is the result of capitalism. Socialism did not help achieve all that you see in New York City, but socialism is certainly going to destroy the wealth and the luxury and the success achieved through capitalism. Everything that has been achieved through capitalism will be destroyed if socialism prevails in New York City. If there's a socialist mayor in New York City, all the success, all the prosperity, everything will be wiped away. So those who want to enjoy the benefits of capitalism while supporting socialists, it's self-destructive behavior. Mamdani is a supporter of defunding the police, and he wants to have government-run grocery stores. He wants to freeze the rent. Free buses. He wants to have fare-free buses. He wants to have no-cost childcare. My friends, freezing the rent might sound like a good idea. It might sound good to a tenant, but in reality, it is not good. Freezing the rent means interfering in the free market. Those who are supporting socialist Zohran Mamdani are on a path to self-destruction. And I truly do not understand why. I guess New York City does not have good choices. You look at the mayoral race, I feel that the voters do not have great choices. I mean, Andrew Cuomo is not a great choice. If you just want to revisit the reasons why Andrew Cuomo had to leave his position as the governor, he was the governor, he had to leave that position. Why? You want to revisit all the reasons? We're not going to do that in this episode, but you can go and do your own research. Look at the reasons why Cuomo left office as the governor. And now he's trying to make a political comeback. But the people of New York City just don't have any confidence in Cuomo anymore. And Eric Adams cannot win because he has not done a good job as the mayor. He's the incumbent, and he's a failed mayor. Of course, I'm glad that Eric Adams finally decided to cooperate with the Trump administration, but that doesn't change the fact that Eric Adams is a failed mayor. I spent a lot of time talking about Eric Adams and his policies on my YouTube channel. I've done many live stream videos talking about Eric Adams and his policies in New York City. Remember the migrants in hotels? Do you remember that? Remember that the migrants, those who entered the United States illegally, those migrants, they were given hotels. They stayed in hotels. Remember that? Remember the prepaid cards for the migrants? Remember how New York City was flooded by migrants? And all that happened with Eric Adams as the mayor of the city. So that's why Eric Adams is so far behind in the polls. The people of New York City are just trying to say, no thank you. They're trying to say no thank you to Eric Adams. Eric Adams is running for re-election, and the people of New York City are saying, no thank you, Mr. Eric Adams. So, he's not going to win. It's very, very obvious. So, we'll see. And Curtis Sliwa. I have not met Mr. Curtis Sliwa, but I do understand from the poll numbers that he is not going to be able to win. I'm glad he's running because the voters need more choices. And Curtis Sliwa is a Republican, but Curtis Sliwa does not have the momentum to win. And, I'm going to share with you what I think. I'm going to do it quite clearly. I'm going to share with you my honest thoughts. I think that the Republicans will have to do a better job of reading the voters' minds in New York City. That's right. It's time for some mind reading. Sounds crazy, right? Like, how do you read someone's mind? How do you read the voters' minds? Well, let me tell you what the voters want. Okay, I'm gonna tell you that. The voters want someone young. By young, I don't mean a 20-year-old or a 24-year-old. I mean candidates who are young enough to bring energy to a campaign. So yeah, it could be people in their 20s. It could be people in their 30s. It could be someone in the early 40s, okay? The voters want charismatic individuals who can connect with the people and blend with the people. The voters want down-to-earth individuals who will go and connect with them, with the voters, from all walks of life. Voters from all walks of life. The Democrats, what are they doing? They are advancing younger candidates. Look at AOC. I mean, AOC's ideas, policy ideas, are awful because she's a socialist. But she's young. And now we can see that she's climbing the ladder of political power. And Zohran Mamdani, another Democrat, his policies are awful policies, socialist policies, but he's young, he's got energy, and he's campaigning hard, and he's connecting with the people, which is why he's the front runner, which is why he's leading in the polls. AOC and Mamdani, both young candidates, young politicians. And then you look at Andrew Cuomo. He's a Democrat, just like AOC, just like Mamdani. But Cuomo, now he's running as an independent, doesn't change the fact that he has been a lifelong Democrat. But he's old, he's tired, he's exhausted, and so he's falling behind. And that's why he's not getting enough support from the voters. Because the voters in New York, they prefer someone younger. And look at Curtis Lewa. He's a Republican. He's a good guy, but he's also quite senior. And, the voters think when they look at candidates who are older, the voters of New York City are thinking that he's not going to have the level of energy that a younger candidate can bring. And so that's why Curtis Lewa is also behind. And that is the reality that I'm trying to share with you here. This is what is going on in New York City. And those who are listening to me right now, you may be nodding your heads in agreement, or you may be shaking your heads in disagreement, but I'm simply stating the facts. In New York City, this is what is going on. In all of New York City, we can see that the voters overwhelmingly prefer someone younger. And now let me ask you, in all of New York City, with so many people, millions of people, how did the Republicans not come up with someone young and energetic as a mayoral candidate? Someone who can counter Zohran Mamdani, someone who can be out in the field and work hard, go all over the city, connect with people from all walks of life, someone who's young. In all of New York City, with such a large population, how is it that the Republicans could not find a strong and young candidate? Some kind of a trailblazer. I mean, are you going to tell me that young Republican candidates don't exist? Are you going to tell me that New York City does not have young Republicans? Well, there are arguments against what I'm saying. Okay, I get that. So someone who's listening to me, someone out there might say, oh, we need candidate with experience. Oh, well, that may be true, but in theory. But older doesn't mean more experience. Older doesn't always mean more capability. Young people may have more drive, more enthusiasm. They may have more energy and more courage to make the changes that are needed in a city. Changes that are needed to put the city on a path to prosperity. Younger people might be more capable of making those changes. And if you're not going to let young people into the race, then how can we expect to win in New York City? And I'm quite frustrated by what I'm seeing in the mayoral race right now in New York. The Republicans have really missed an opportunity here. You look at our Republican candidate, Curtis Lewa. He is very likely not going to win. And that's why I say it is a missed opportunity. If Mamdani, the Democrat, wins once, the next time, he's going to have the incumbent advantage. And it's going to be even more difficult to defeat Mamdani. If he wins once, it's going to be very difficult to defeat him next time. And there's also the possibility that Mamdani may aim higher. And he may try to become the state's next governor. If he becomes the mayor and if he wants to climb the ladder, the political ladder, then next time he may try to become the governor. Who knows? So I need to point out the facts in the race, and that is exactly what I'm doing. New York Republicans have missed an opportunity here. New York Republicans should have promoted a younger candidate, perhaps someone who's bilingual or multilingual. It's very common nowadays. A lot of people speak more than one language. I mean, I can speak 4 languages. 4 languages I can speak. And there are many who can speak at least 2 languages. There are many who can speak more than 4 or 5 languages, okay? But maybe you don't need to go that far, okay? Somebody who knows 2 languages, someone who's bilingual at least, that's the kind of candidate we need in New York City. Someone who's young, someone who's energetic, and, in a diverse place like New York City, find a candidate who can connect with diverse cultures and who can connect with people from different backgrounds. Why can't the Republicans do that in New York? And now it's too late. I cannot tell you what a missed opportunity this is for the Republicans. This was a golden opportunity to win the mayor's race. Oh, the Republicans could have won this mayoral race. I mean, I'm not trying to make a prediction and say Curtis Levi is going to lose, but that's what it looks like according to the polls. Yeah, the polls can be wrong, but every poll is showing that Zohran Mamdani is going to win. Every poll. And so it's a missed opportunity for the Republicans. And now it seems that the best case scenario is for Andrew Cuomo to win, just for the sake of preventing a Mamdani victory. And Cuomo is just a bad candidate. He's trying to make a comeback, but it's not working out for him. He's not a very successful politician anymore. And Cuomo is likely not going to win, and that's the important thing to remember. But it seems that a Cuomo victory is going to be better compared to a Mamdani victory. Because Mamdani is a socialist. Cuomo is not a socialist. I mean, so this is a very hopeless situation for New York. When the rest of the country seems to be heading in the right direction, New York City is going to suffer if a socialist becomes the mayor. New York City is going to suffer the consequences of bad economic and social policies if Zohran Mamdani wins. If Mamdani wins, the people of New York are going to see the largest expansion of local government in New York City's history. The government that will likely intrude in the free market, the government that will likely interfere in the free market in ways that we've probably never seen before in America. And New York City is heading in that direction, heading towards socialism. And so what's going to happen? There's going to be mass exodus from New York City. People are going to leave. People already have been leaving New York City, and more people will do the same. So socialism is going to be extremely bad for New York City, and the socialist candidate, Zohran Mamdani, Democrat candidate, is the one who is likely to win this race. And this is extremely sad. And once again, I'll tell you, this is a missed opportunity for the Republicans. Once again, let me tell you, the Republicans should have found a candidate who's young, who's energetic, who's at least bilingual, who can connect with diverse cultures, who can directly counter Zohran Mamdani. But that's not what we have, and it is a missed opportunity. And I know there are people out there who are not going to agree with me. That's fine. If you don't agree with what I said, you can just let me know what your thoughts are, okay? I want to hear from you. I really do want to hear from you. So, in general, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, let me ask you, if you live in New York City, if you are a New York City voter, regardless of your political views, share with me your thoughts about the mayoral race. Okay, and if you are a Republican, this question is for you. Do you think that Zohran Mamdani can be defeated in the mayoral race? And in general, once again, now this question goes back to the New York voters, regardless of your political views, do you think that the state of the city, what do you think the state of the city is going to be if Zohran Mamdani is elected mayor? What do you think the future of New York is going to look like? The future of New York City, if Mamdani is elected the mayor. Share your thoughts with me, my friends. And, whatever your comments are, whatever your views are, share with me. You can go to my website, tosifanam.net. You can send me a message through my website. You can also email me directly. My email address is tosif@tosifanam.net. You can also find me on social media. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on X, and I'm also on Truth Social. So I want to hear from you. Thank you so very much, my friends. Thank you for continuing to listen to my podcast, and I hope to be back again very soon with a new episode of Explore and Engage with Anam.